Recording. So good morning. Welcome to Tuesday morning yoga on the 20 something of March. I think it's the 23rd. It's a bit of a cooler day today, but that means it's a really good day to get warm inside and stay on our mat and do good things for ourselves. So you can go ahead and find your way down onto your back on your mat. You may wish to keep your feet planted, knees bent, and have the knees relaxing in towards each other for a restorative shavasana, or you may prefer to stretch out on your mat. No matter which variation you pick, just ever so gently lift your hips off the mat and then wiggle them, settle them back down so that you have lots of room for your lower back. And once you come onto your mat, you can take a few of those really nice, big resetting breaths. So huge breath, breathing all the way down into the bottom of your lungs, inhaling all the way to the top, hold for a moment, and then sigh it out. With that sigh out, let everything go. So let busyness of your day go, let preoccupation go, let tension go. Again, nice big breath in. Hold for just a moment. Exhale, letting even more energy go, just falling into a really relaxed state. One more reset breath. Inhale. Pause at the top. Exhale. Just letting it all go, feeling your body soften in response to those breaths. And then you can check in with your body and notice how you're feeling on this particular day. Not judging, not becoming worried about anything, just noticing how things are feeling. So noticing areas that are feeling relaxed, energetic, and loose, and other areas where you might be feeling a little tense and conserving, holding on to energy. And once you've taken a scan of your body, you can begin to turn your attention toward your breath. Smoothly inhaling through the nose for 4. Hold for a moment at the top. Exhale through the nose for 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. You find a rhythm that works for your body. It can be slightly slower or faster than the rhythm I've proposed. It's all good. Just find a rhythm that works for you. Make it nice and smooth, keeping the breath moving through the nose. Maybe even circling the breath at the back of your neck on your exhale so that you make that slight hissing noise, your ujjayi breath. Keep manufacturing that breath very consciously for a few more rounds. At some point, when you do that enough times, your brain just flips a switch, and then that mode of breathing becomes very effortless. And once you've gotten your breath nice and steady, flowing gently back and forth, I'd like you to set an intention for your practice. So you could bring to mind a word or a short phrase, an idea that you would like to set for your practice. Could be something like peace or healing or relaxation. Find an intention for your practice and say it to yourself 3 times silently. And then keeping your practice breath moving, I'll invite you to bring in some gentle movement. So maybe you'd like to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe you want to ball up your fists and release. And again, make fists, release the fingers. And then you can stretch long on your mat, getting as long as you can, and then slightly curve your body over toward the right. So still on your back and sort of making yourself like a banana. So you're slightly curved over to the right. And then come back straight on your mat and then lean your body over slightly to the left, curving in the other direction. Breathing into the side ribs and come back straight. And I'd like you to hug your knees in the direction of your torso, pulling the right knee in the direction of the right armpit, left knee in the direction of the left armpit, hugging those knees in. And then if you like, you could hug your head up towards your knees, making yourself very round, getting yourself into a tiny little ball, like a little acorn. And release. You can bring your head back down to the mat and gently just roll on your lower spine a little bit. Maybe just gently rock back and forth, giving yourself a nice little mini back massage. And when you're feeling ready, you can roll over onto your right hand side and pause there for a moment before gently bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. So coming up to sit nice and straight, your hands can rest on your knees, or if your legs are extended, you can just have your hands on your thighs. So making contact with the ground with your sits bones, tailbone down, spine is being pulled long like there's an invisible string on the top of your head and someone is pulling straight up. Your head can come to center. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower your chin down to your chest. On your inhale, bring your head back through center and then gently gaze up, just noticing the range of movement you have. Come back to center. Exhale, head comes down. Inhale, bring it back through center. And exhale, again, just gently looking upward, coming to center. Exhale, chin comes down. This time you can begin to take circles with the head and neck. Nice and slow. Pausing anywhere where you feel like you could use a little extra attention. Being very gentle. And when you feel good on that side, you can reverse the motion. Again, pausing anywhere that you feel you can benefit from a little extra attention. And you can bring your head back up to center. I'll ask you to bring your palms together, intertwine your fingers, and then push your palms forward. Just getting a little stretch here, little finger and forearm stretch, and then bring your arms up overhead. And just feeling a little stretch there. And then you can part your hands We'll bring the left hand down, so I'll mirror you. Walk your left hand out to the side, reaching up and over with the right arm, getting really long through the right side of the body, breathing into that side of your rib cage, feeling your ribs expand and contract with your breath. Relax the head and neck. One more breath. And you can gently bring yourself upright, bring the right hand down, walk it out to the side, arm up and over. Again, getting really long through the left side of the body, feeling those ribs expand. Again, relax the head and neck. One more breath. And you can bring yourself upward. Your choice, whether you'd like to do this cross-legged or with your legs extended out in front of you. If you have your legs extended, plant your right foot on the mat. So you've got a bit of fist width between your legs. Make sure the left leg is rolled up and in. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Right hand goes behind. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale to twist. Relax the head and neck. Try not to lead with your head. As you exhale, see if you can just melt into this and relax into this twist, putting in less effort. And you can relax, come out of your twist, and set up for the other side. So if you're doing legs extended, plant the left foot. Again, leave that fist width between your legs. Right femur is rolled up and in a little bit. Right hand comes to left knee, left hand directly behind. Inhale, sitting up tall. Exhale, twisting to the left, checking in with the head and neck, making sure you're not leading with those. Feeling the twist coming right from the base of your tailbone. Keep that breath gently moving. And one more breath. And you can exhale, come back to center. We'll extend both legs. So if you're cross-legged, extend your legs out in front of you. You can bring those legs together. Hands can rest at your side. First, sitting nice and tall, coming into staff pose, staying for a moment. Actively peel your toes back toward you. And then on your exhale, gently walking the hands forward, coming into just a small forward fold. You can relax the head and neck. Keep those toes actively peeling back toward you. Just finding a little action here in the hamstrings. And you can gently walk your hands back. Bring your hands a little bit out to the side. Come back onto your tailbone and then lift your shins parallel to the ground. Feet can be flexed or pointed, your choice, as long as your toes are actively engaged. If you want to challenge your balance, bring your hands up, forward, energetic fingers coming into boat pose. Abdomen is strong and engaged. Chest is pulling forward and up. One more breath here. And you can bring your feet down, sitting upright. And then we'll bring our legs around the side, coming on to hands and knees. So everyone will meet up in their neutral tabletop position. Remembering that if your wrists are touchy, you can set your wrists forward a little bit of your shoulders. Otherwise, wrists are under shoulders, knees are under your hips, toes are uncurled, and we'll start with our cats and cows. So for cow, the belly dips down, the hips go up, and the head looks forward, maybe up. Exhale, reverse the motion, head comes down, push up between the shoulder blades, really round that spine, enjoying the feeling of movement in your spine. Belly comes down, hips and head upward. Exhale, coming to cat, rounding, pushing up between your shoulder blades. Inhale, coming through to cow. Exhale to cat. And take 3 more rounds of movement with your own breath. Really just slowly enjoying the feeling of moving your spine. Maybe you can even visualize each vertebra of your spine moving in response to your muscles. And you come to the end of your 3rd round of cat and cow. Just come back to a neutral tabletop position. So we'll do a little balancing here. I want you to put all of your weight over onto your left knee. You can keep both hands down. We're going to hug the right knee in toward the chest. Exhale, send it back directly behind you like it's a tail. So inhale, squeeze the right knee in. Exhale, extend it back. If you want, you could add on the left arm, just an option. So inhale, squeeze the knee in. Exhale, send it back. Inhale it in. Whoa. Exhale, send it back. One more time. Oh, I'm losing my balance today. Inhale it in. Exhale, send it back. Hold for 1 breath. And you can lower that right knee down. Set yourself up in table again, and then transfer your weight onto that right knee. We're going to inhale the left knee in, extend it back. Again, you could add on the arms here if you want, or arm singular, so right arm. Inhale the left knee in, exhale, extend it back. Inhale it in, extend back. One more time. Inhale it in, extend it back, hold for a breath, and you can lower that knee back down. Good work. You can leave your knees where they are. Turn your toes under. If you'd like the kneeling downward dog, set your hands forward of where they would normally be, quite a bit forward. Open your chest toward the ground. So coming into the kneeling variation for downward dog. If you'd like to come up onto your feet, hike the hips up and back. And then once you're standing, if that's your choice, pedal those legs out. Always focus on opening your heart toward the ground. Nice deep breathing. One more breath. And then no matter where you are, come onto your feet in a way that makes sense to you and roll all the way up to stand at the top of your mat. So we'll set up, feet are narrow hip width apart. Our spine is nice and long, chest is broad, shoulders down away from your ears, and hands at your side. Just finding your mountain pose here. Noticing where your center of gravity is. I'd like you to just begin to bring your weight forward and just come onto your toes. So just bring the weight into your toes, noticing that transition of weight, and then bring your weight back through center, and then set your weight back on your heels, noticing how that changes things, and then come back to center again, finding that sweet spot where your balance is steady and you are strong like a mountain. You can inhale the arms up overhead, clasp your fingers. Again, turn the palms up toward the ceiling, getting really tall. You can part the hands again. Hands come to heart center, forward fold all the way down. So your hands could come down toward the mat. If you want, cradle one arm and the other. Come into a ragdoll. Gently begin to sway. And just getting a little bit of movement here to help us activate the hamstrings. Maybe that breeze picks up a little bit and your ragdoll even bounces a little. If you have your arms cradled, you can bring them back down. Bring your hands onto your shins. Inhale, come halfway up to flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come down to the mat. Feet are going to step all the way to the back of the mat and lower onto the knees. Untuck the toes, making sure that you have a nice, long, straight line from your shoulders all the way back to your knees. So if you feel like your bum's up a little bit, tuck your bum down so you get that nice straight line. Inhale to begin. Exhale, squeezing your elbows toward your torso. Lower yourself down as slowly as you can. So thighs come down, hips, tummy, chest, and finally forehead comes down to the mat. Your hands can remain under your shoulders. Inhale your head up for cobra. Maybe you've got a face full of cat like I do. Uchi. Exhale, bring your head down to the mat. Inhale, head up. Exhale, head comes down. One more time for cobra. Inhale up. You're lifting right from the lower back here. Maybe you can levitate your hands up. And exhale, head can come back down. Turn your toes under. Push yourself back up onto your knees. Your choice. You could take the kneeling variation of downward dog or hike the hips up and back, coming into the standing version. If you're standing, you can pedal out your legs a little more. No matter which version you're in, make sure those hands are really strong, really actively pushing into the mat, especially the base of your fingers, the mounds. Really push those down into the mat. Coming to center, holding for a breath. And then in a way that makes sense for you, find your way onto your feet at the top of the mat again. And slowly rolling up to stand, coming back to mountain pose. I want you to bring your hands behind your back, intertwine your fingers, pull your hands down toward the ground so that your chest really opens up. Inhale to begin. Exhale with a gentle bend in your knees. Fold forward, hinging at the hips, coming into a forward fold. And then maybe your hands lift up off your back. Just seeing if you can bring them up a little, maybe feeling a bit of an opening through the front of the shoulders. You can bring your hands back down to your lower spine. Both hands can come down to the mat. We're going to set the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. So we're coming into a runner's lunge. Keep your hands down. You're going to have options in this lunge. So the first option is just to stay here in this runner's lunge. See if you can encourage your hips to open toward the ground. An option, you could lift your left hand and open your chest toward the left side. Left hand comes straight up overhead, just coming into a twist. Not necessary, but you could try that. Finally, the last option, you could push into your left foot, bring your hands onto your thigh and come upright onto that thigh again. Just an option here. Big power pose. No matter which option you've chosen, keep opening those hips toward the ground. If you brought your hands up onto your thigh, bring them back down onto the ground. Bring the left hand inside of the left leg and move that left leg out to the side a little bit. You can fold the right side of your mat over if that will give you cushioning for your knee, and then bring that right knee down onto the mat. Uncurl the toes, back your hands up. You can bring your hands onto your left thigh and bring yourself upright. Good. Make sure that your left ankle is well ahead of your left knee. If it's not, just scooch it out there. Inhale to get tall. Exhale, sink the hips forward and down. So you could stay exactly like this with your hand on your thigh. You could bring in a block here, bring it to your left instep, and hands come onto the block. Or perhaps you have quite a bit of range and you could even bring the hands down onto the floor. Just try and find a variation on lizard that allows you to find stillness. And just work again at allowing your hips to lower forward and down. Focus back in on your breath. See if you can lengthen that out. Nice, slow, deep breathing. One more deep breath. So no matter where your hands are, back your hip up and then draw your left foot back by your right. You can set your block off to the side for a moment. Unfold your mat if it's folded. Bring your knees as wide as your mat. Toes are together. Hips are back on your heels. Walk your hands forward and lower your torso toward the ground. Your forehead can come down onto your mat. Coming into child's pose. If you'd like to invite a little stretch into the front of the body, you could tent up onto your fingertips, just opening your armpits toward the ground. One last breath. And then coming back up onto hands and knees, your choice. So bringing the knees hip width apart, turning the toes under, either sending the hands forward and opening the chest toward the ground here, or pushing up and back for standing version of downward facing dog. No matter which version you're in, really stretch those breaths out, make them nice and long. And then come on to your feet. We'll all meet up at the top of the mat. So inhale, coming all the way up to standing, nice and tall. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Coming down into our fold for a moment. Bending in the knees. Both hands can plant on the mat. This time we're going to step the left foot all the way to the back, coming into a runner's lunge. Back up your hands if you need to. So you can stay exactly here in this version, just encouraging the hips to open toward the ground. If you wanted to try the twist, you can lift your right hand, open your body to the right side, coming into a twist. If you took that variation, bring your hand back down. We'll bring the right hand to the inside. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. Hold on a second there. If you'd like to come into the standing variation, you can bring your hand onto your thigh now. Coming into the standing lunge, if that's on the menu for you today. One more breath. And now you can bring your left hand down, bring your right hand to the inside of your right foot. You can lower the left knee down if you want. Fold that left side of the mat over first for cushioning for your knee. Bring the left knee down, uncurl the toes. If you have a block, just bring it to your left instep. Hands come onto your thigh, bringing yourself upright to prepare for lizard. So make sure that right ankle is well ahead of the right knee so that you have room to lunge. Inhale to get tall. Exhale, sinking the hips forward and down. So you can stay right here with the hands on the thigh. Maybe you'd like to bring your hands to the inside of your right instep and come down onto the block. Or maybe you even have room to come down onto your hands. No matter which variation you end up in, just try and breathe your hips downward. So again, it's a lot like the twist. Less is more here. Just try and relax into it. One last breath. So no matter where you are, back your hips up, draw your right foot back by your left. This time we'll bring the toes together, bring the knees together, sit your hips back on your heels and bring your forehead down, coming into a closed-legged variation on child's pose. Again, if you wanted to stretch the underarms a bit, you could bring your hands straight overhead, bring your hands to prayer, and then lift your hands onto the back of your head, getting a little upper arm stretch here. Slowing the breath down, lengthening it out. And hands can come forward if they were anywhere else. Bring your hands, bring yourself back up onto your hands and knees. Again, knees come hip width apart, toes turn under, your choice. So either set your hands forward, coming into your variation of downward facing dog, or coming up onto the feet. Last downward facing dog of the class. Breathe deep. One last big breath. Exhale and gently make your way up onto your feet at the top of your mat, rolling up to stand nice and tall. We're going to come into our balancing series now. So if you know, I lost an earbud. Can everyone still hear me? Can you hear me? Thumbs up. Good. Okay. I thought maybe I lost the audio there. So coming up to stand at the top of the mat, feet are now hip width apart, or if you're going to use furniture, you could go there now. Sorry, should have mentioned that. That's for our standing pose. So abs are engaged. Your hands can come onto your hips. Before you think about going anywhere with this balance, fix your gaze on a non-moving point a few meters ahead of you. You can begin to bring your weight over onto your right foot. Inhale the left leg up, exhale it out to the side. Plant the free leg against the standing leg so the foot can come to the shin, the ankle, toes down, whichever works for you. When you find that resting place, squeeze your bum in, engage your abdomen. Hands can come to heart center. And maybe you grow your tree on this side. Nice, steady breath. Not worrying about shaking or swaying. Gently bring your hands back into heart center if they were anywhere else. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale that free leg up. Straighten it out. Hold for breath. And exhale it down slowly with control. Good work. Shake out the standing leg, get that circulation going, and then we'll set up for the other side. So again, feet narrow hip width apart, standing up straight, abdomen's engaged. Before we go anywhere, fixing the gaze on a non-moving point. Transfer your weight over your left foot. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale that knee to the side. Plant your free foot against your standing leg. Engage your core, so squeeze your bum. Abs are squeezed up and in. Hands can come to heart center. And you can grow your tree on this side. See what it's looking like this week. Feel yourself getting nice and tall. Shaking and swaying is fine. All trees sway in the breeze. One more nice big breath. If your hands were up, bring them through heart center and then down to the hips. Inhale your free leg up, straighten it out, lower it slowly with control. Good work. You can shake out that standing leg and we'll set up for our squat. So if you know that you prefer to come all the way down onto your mat, onto your bum ahead of time or onto a block ahead of time, you can come down now. If you'd like to come from standing, set up your hips, your feet wider than hip width. Toes are pointing out on a 45-degree angle. Nice and tall. Hands can come to heart center. Inhale to get tall. Exhale to lower down. If you're already down, your feet can take the same position. You're just already on your bum. If you're coming from standing, you can just wiggle around a little bit when you come down. And then everybody meets up in the same place. So feet are still wider than hips, knees out to the side. Perhaps the upper arms can come to the insides of your knees, just to encourage the hips to open. And perhaps the hands come to heart center. No matter which variation you're in, make sure that you're keeping your torso really upright and that you're not slumping forward. So sitting up tall. Find a place where you can just come into stillness and breathe into it. There's this saying that in yoga, the pose begins when you want to leave it. So sometimes we come into sensation, and we just have to allow ourselves to stay, to notice, but not to react, and just to breathe through it. 2 more breaths. 1 more. If you're on your feet or on the block, bring the block out of the way, bring yourself down onto your seat. Everybody can bring their knees forward, bring the legs together. You could cradle your arms one in the other, and then just gently windshield wiper your knees back and forth, rolling up onto your hip as you do so. Just sort of massaging the outsides of your hips. If this isn't working, you could just bring your arms down by your side. Just massaging a little bit. And then coming back to center, bring the knees together. Arms can wrap underneath your legs if you like, bringing your torso down in the direction of your thighs. Head can relax forward, coming into a nice restorative forward fold. Allowing ourselves to just lengthen that breath out again. And then you can stay there if you're happy there. If you'd like to explore going a little deeper, you could extend your legs in front of you. Really actively peel the toes back toward yourself and allow yourself to continue folding forward. Again, make it all a bit relaxing into it rather than trying to pull ourselves forcefully. Just let your body soften. And if your legs are extended, bring yourself upright out of your fold. You can plant your feet on the ground. Allow your knees to come out to either side. Your feet are a fair ways from your body, so that you're making a nice long diamond shape with your legs. Hands can come onto your shins. Sitting up nice and tall, pulling that chest broad and forward, and then hinging at your hips, coming into a variation of this forward fold. Again, you don't have to pull yourself into it. Just try and let yourself melt into it. You can relax the head and neck. If you find you come to a point where you feel a little bit stuck, you could try just gently lifting and lowering the knees, kind of flapping them like wings for butterfly. And then allowing yourself to relax back into the fold. And one more breath. Slowly bringing yourself back upright, bringing the knees back together. If you're not lengthwise on your mat, bring yourself lengthwise on your mat now. Bringing the hands onto the shins. Inhale, draw your chest forward, get tall. Release your hands from your shins, and then challenge yourself to lie back as slowly as you can. So really trying to control the descent here. And then when you can't control it anymore, lying all the way down on your back. Hands will come down by your hips, feet planted just below your hips, setting up for bridge. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, push your hips up toward the sky. Really push down with the backs of your arms and your feet. Pushing those hips high. With each exhale, see if you can get a little bit higher. One more. And exhale, hips come down to the mat. Windshield wiper those knees gently back and forth. If you have a block nearby that you'd like to use for a resting bridge. You could bring that by your hips now. Hands planted down by your hips. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push those hips skyward. If you're coming into the restorative version, slip the block under your lower back right now. So under your coccyx. So not middle back, not bum, right under the lower back. Settle that lower back onto the block and allow yourself to rest, hands at your side. If you're staying in a more active version, keep pushing those hips skyward. Big breath if you're actively pushing. Exhale, you can lower yourself down. If you're on the block, stay exactly as you are. Active bridge goers will set up for our last one. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, pushing the hips skyward. No matter which version you're in, nice deep breathing. If you're on the block, get ready to lift. One more breath. Inhale, everybody push their hips as high as they can. If you have a block under your spine, bring it out now. Lower your hips back down to the mat and gently windshield wiper the knees back and forth. And we'll come into pigeon. So you can bring your right ankle just below your left knee. Right knee is coming out to the side, making the figure 4 with your legs. Keep that right knee coming out to the side, and the right toes are actively peeling back toward the right knee. If you're happy here, you can stay exactly like this. Maybe use the right hand to encourage that right knee to keep opening out to the side. If you prefer, you could take a hold of your left thigh, intertwine your fingers around it, or use a strap, and then hug that left thigh in toward you, really actively keeping the right toes flexed to protect the right knee. The bottom of your left leg can totally relax. Coming into our reclining pigeon. Finding a place where you're feeling sensation in the outer hip. Nice deep breathing. Imagine you have lungs in your hips and you can breathe right down into them. Three more breaths. And when you've finished your third breath, if you have a hold of your thigh, lower that left foot back down to the mat, uncross your right leg, gently windshield wiper the knees back and forth a couple of times, just releasing your hips. And then we'll set up for the other side. So left ankle comes just below the right knee, left knee actively out to the side, and those left toes are really engaged, peeling back towards the left knee. Again, you could stay exactly like this, maybe using the left hand to encourage that left knee outward. If you'd like to go a little deeper, hug your right thigh in the direction of your torso, maybe taking a hold with a strap or intertwining the fingers around the back. Lower right leg can completely relax. Just make sure you're keeping those left toes really actively peeling back toward your left knee to protect your knee. Coming into your expression of reclining pigeon and just finding your breath. Imagine you can send that breath right down into your hips. 3 more breaths. And if you have a hold of your thigh, gently release it. Right foot comes down to the mat, uncrossing the left leg. Windshield wiper the knees back and forth a few times. And bringing the knees back upright. Your arms can come straight out into a T. Cross the right leg over the left with no gap between the thighs. Ever so gently, set your hips over to the right, and then your knees can come all the way over onto the left. If you'd like to take this to be a little bit more restorative, you could bring your block or a pillow right beside your left hip, and then allow the knees to relax over so that your legs are fully supported by that prop. If you're happy here, and both shoulders should be firmly plugged down into the mat, maybe you want to explore looking over the right shoulder. Just an option, not mandatory. If your head is over your shoulder, bring it straight back upright. Gently bring the knees upright. Uncross the legs, straighten the hips. If you know you want a prop on the other side, bring that prop over to the right side now. Again, arms in a T. Left leg crosses over right, no gap between the thigh. This time, set your hips off to the left just a little bit, and then lowering the knees over to the right. Again, having that prop by your right hip if you'd like to relax the weight of your legs fully onto a prop. Both shoulder blades stay firmly plugged into the mat, and you could explore looking over your left shoulder. Again, just an option. If you get there and you find it's not for you today, then bring your head back upright. And if your head was to the side, bring it back to center. Gently bring the knees upright, uncross the legs, straighten out the hips, and we'll just bring our knees in toward our torso again. Right knee toward right armpit, left knee toward left armpit. Again, hugging the head up toward the knees, coming into a little ball, holding for a moment, and then exhale. Extend yourself long on your mat, as long as you can. Stretching, stretching, and then finding your final resting pose. So you could choose to have your feet planted wider than your hips, allowing your knees to relax in towards each other, or your legs could be extended straight on the mat. If you have a little bit of warmth and energy that you'd like to conserve and hold in, you could put your right hand on your belly and your left hand over your heart. If you would rather let go, your arms could be resting out to your sides. No matter where you are, take some nice deep breaths, resetting breaths. Inhale, filling the lungs all the way to the top. Hold for a moment. Exhale, sigh it out, letting go of effort and intention, letting your practice go. Again, big inhale. Hold for just a moment. Exhale. Allowing yourself to release energy, feeling your body soften in response. One more big breath. Hold for a moment at the top. Exhale, letting go. You could open and close your mouth a few times. And make sure the biting surfaces of your teeth stay separated. Your gaze is soft. Your face is completely passive. And you can just allow yourself to find a few moments of full relaxation. If you find that your mind wanders off your mat onto other things, just gently bring it back by drawing attention toward your breath. If you like, you could even add in your box breath here. Inhaling through the nose to the count of 4. Hold to the count of 4. Exhale to the count of 4. Hold to the count of 4. Generate a breath that works for you. Just allow yourself to fall into that relaxation. You can gently bring your attention back toward your body, taking a few nice deep breaths and noticing the sensations in your body at this moment in time. Perhaps noting how sensations have changed since the beginning of practice. So maybe you're feeling a little looser, warmer, energetic, or relaxed. Again, not judging, just noticing. And then you can start to invite movement in. So wiggling fingers and toes, maybe balling up the fists and releasing. Take a nice big stretch, hang along, and gently rolling over onto your right side. And pausing there for a moment before you bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And once you come up to sit, bring your hands to heart center. Take an inhale and lower your chin to your chest. I want you to take a moment to remember the intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of practice, that word or idea. And again, I want you to repeat it to yourself 3 times silently. And then take an inhale to embody your intention and an exhale to release it out into the world. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. And that's from one of the seminal texts of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for joining me for practice today. Namaste.